when you go chasing down like a crazy muscle group, it throws off the look. And then everyone's trying to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And then it kind of turns into a rat race of like, oh, I've got to be bigger. Really, it's how you present the size you have. A lot of times the biggest girl is not winning the show anymore. And I'm glad that they've taken that avenue as
like how you plan usually to sleep in, and then you always end up like waking up like an hour before. So
it's
what's the
only
difference?
I swear it's only when I think like, oh, I have time to sleep in that I get up so early. And then yesterday I slept until 6:10. It's like straight till my alarm went off.
Maybe you should just stop thinking that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because on weekends I'll be up at 5:30, like no problem. But
Honestly, it's just like one of those things that I find, we have different subjects in school, and then the subjects that you just give the least shits about, you do better in.
yeah. Yeah. It's always like Murphy's Law.
Yeah.
But I hadn't, when I went to send your link for the podcast, I hadn't noticed that your avatar was you from probably like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
You look so itty bitty. So, have you and Justin talked about shows at all?
Oh, you mean for next year?
Yeah.
Well, probably like maybe the start of the year would be ideal. But of course, like, I gotta consider budget and like
Yeah.
what shows are available. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, preferably like maybe like a week apart, because I mean, ideally I want to be able to go to the States, but just have to look at cost and like all the regulations going on.
Yeah.
But but also, if I get to go all the way there, I would like to spend some time there that's not competing at the same time.
Well, you can probably knock out your qualification pretty quick. So, maybe that'll take some pressure off, and then you can just travel to all of your
And let's
friends.
let's not be so sure about that.
I
Hopefully,
know. I know. I don't want to jinx it. Wouldn't be surprised though. And the first one in Phoenix, it's probably a little too early, but there is a really early show in Phoenix now. I think it's in like March or April, Triple O.
oh yeah, the triple O. I just thought like maybe that's the only one that's early. I know the earlier ones are like Tri City, Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's true too. If you started that early, then there would be like a long stretch in between. But
Yeah.
oh well. I started
Oh, that's
Reddit.
good.
I don't think I told you that.
Oh, you didn't tell me.
Yeah, I figured I would leave it so we had something to chat about when we first started here.
Okay. When did you start?
Just Friday, so I can't really say too much. Just Friday, just 0.3 three times a week, so
Okay.
just barely a milligram
Yeah,
per
yeah,
week.
that's a very safe dose to know
Yeah,
like if you're sensitive.
yeah. So also, you know what I wanted to ask you about? So I know you're not using SLU, SLU, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, please share. How's your
Well,
experience?
no. So I can't really say, like for me and my experience, so I'm taking 500 micrograms fasted and then 500 micrograms pre-training.
Okay.
Lately, they're coming out with 100 milligram. That's not a typo. 100 milligram capsules.
Hmm.
So now I'm like, okay, if they're apparently they're. So I was just curious if you'd heard about that upper end dosing.
Yes, actually, because I think I watched something along the lines of like what Vigorous Steve talked about, and I don't remember the exact number, but as far as I know that actually the effective, in inverted commas, effective dose, it's way higher than 500 micrograms.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's crazy because when they started it out, like they were selling like 100 micrograms, 250 micrograms. Not even everywhere carried 500 micrograms. And
yeah,
now I think they're finding out they're dosing it more like 100 to 400 milligrams.
shit.
So now I'm
Well,
like,
because I remember that it's supposed to be based off body weight, and where we're getting the initial starting effective dose is actually based off only experiments done on rats. So
okay,
we're going, yeah, so we're going off what the what it was effective for the rats,
yeah,
which is why they are extrapolating it to like humans body weight wise.
okay.
Yeah,
But I thought it was a typo at first because I was like, if there's people dosing 100 milligrams, I feel like 500 micrograms is like just flushing money down the toilet. But
it
I mean,
really
people
is. Which is why
apparently,
they say SLU is expensive.
yeah,
Because for you to actually be hitting that, you actually should be taking quite a fair bit. So whatever bottle people have right now, actually you would actually be supposed to go through it faster than you think.
yeah, I
Yeah.
can see why. All of these peptides are really expensive, and I don't know if I think it's kind of like a demand thing since it's also like something that the average user, just like average lifestyle everyday person, is more probably drawn to.
Mm.
But even when I went to buy some Retta, I was like, holy shit, I don't think I want to pay this much just to not be hungry. But
Yeah.
at least with Retta, you get like all those other health
Yeah,
benefits.
which is what I use it for
Yeah.
mainly. Yeah.
And I think once I realized like I would be like on 1 milligram a week, if you math it out, it's really not that
It's
expensive.
just fine because like I think if, I'm guessing you bought the 10 milligram bottle,
Yep. So
so
that'll last
that
me
would
like
last
a
you
week.
4 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's
assuming
really
you're not including the dose.
exactly. So
Yeah.
it's really not that expensive. I just think I was comparing it to like, buying some Clen or something.
Yeah.
But anyway,
But
want to
do you feel it worked like the SLU works out for you? You see, because I find that it's one of those things I haven't really like done a lot of research to like talk to different people like how they felt like SLU works for them. Because typically when they're using the SLU, they're not using SLU alone. They're using it with
exactly.
Clan, Reta, that sort of stuff. I personally find that from what I see is those sort of things that it works well if in synergy with like the other stuff. But if I had to pick like just one thing alone, I would just stick with like the Clan and Reda.
Yeah, it's hard for me to really say because I have been on just a tiny little bit of Clen, just like 40 micrograms, and we're not pushing super hard to come down,
Okay.
The only thing that
Yeah.
I've noticed, and again, it's hard to say whether this is from the SLU or just how my body is responding this time, is like I've
Okay.
been handling my high days much better. Like I'll only go up 2 to 3 pounds and then I come right back
Okay.
down. Whereas like last year in prep, I would go up like 5 pounds and I'm
Right.
still down. But that's the only thing. And to be honest with you, like I don't think I would be comfortable going straight to like 100 milligrams. Like that's a big discrepancy. Like
It is. It is.
I'll let them mess with that, whoever them is, whoever's brave enough.
Yeah. Well, on my side, at least the vendors that I have access to with SLU, we don't go by tablets. We go by powders.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So even with like oral AAS, it's also powder form.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you have to capsulize it yourself.
You could do that, or you could they give like a small 10 microgram scoop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's so tiny. It looks like a chopstick.
Yeah.
Mm.
What do your
Or
parents
and
think about that?
sometimes some of the vendors they will provide you a solution for you to like just mix the powder in. So that's when you use the syringe to like when you're a kid and then your mom wants to like feed you some medicine, then she'll
Oh,
drop
okay.
the syringe and just poop into your mouth.
What do your parents ever see you doing that? They're just like, oh, there's Tanya playing chemist.
Okay, my parents are quite open about it. Only until like maybe lately, like last year, that my dad found out that I was not natural. But for the longest time, he thought I was. And the thing is that because like sometimes when he's at home, he's so focused on what he's doing that my mom and I would just like sometimes we'll chat about these things, especially when I'm competing soon, and then she's following me for my show.
Hmm.
She'll like make sure you have this and that, and then just goes all over the house, and he doesn't hear it for like since what 2022. So it still blows my mind when he sends the family chat, like "Don't touch steroids" kind of like articles into the group chat. And it's like awkward silence in the group chat because my brother's like,
Yeah, that's anytime it comes up around me, it's just like, yeah, awkward silence. It's like I will
yeah.
accept nor deny these allegations.
But I do like that they were not like completely against it. They don't like the idea of it, as they should. They don't like the
Yeah,
idea of it, but they trust as an adult you would be responsible.
yeah.
Because it's one of those things, and which is why I kind of like that when I have lifestyle people and they're kind of interested to they're open enough to kind of accept and see what you do, because then, like, at least for myself as a daughter, I have the opportunity to kind of prove that my bloods are perfectly fine, off
Hmm.
or on cycle, and then they can see that like sometimes you fear usually comes about from the public about things that you don't actually have an understanding of.
That's so funny you say that because when you were done, I was literally going to say, I think people just fear things that you don't
They don't
understand.
understand.
A
Yeah.
lot of people just don't understand that, like, we're not just like reckless. We try to do
Yeah.
everything as safe as possible. And I think people sometimes forget too that like a lot of what we use started out in medical applications.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure.
Anyway.
It's,
Um
it's it's the same thing as like food, honestly. Whether we're talking about PEDs or food, it's one of those things I say, like there's no such thing as good or bad food. You could lose weight on fast food. Is it
mhm.
ideal? Not really. But could you do it? Yeah. There's no such thing as a good or a bad food. It's just a good or a bad diet.
Yeah, especially because, like, if you think about it, there was actually a post I saw about this yesterday. Like, a lot of bodybuilders, like, the food we eat isn't what you would deem healthy, like all
Hmm.
the sugar-free stuff. I don't go crazy with like all of the crazy, like, sugar-free, like, concoctions, or like my food is really pretty basic, but I also love like some sugar-free syrups in my coffee or sugar-free soda or whatever, and I think
Yeah.
people think like, oh, you're healthy. And it's like, well, trust me, no, I'm not necessarily trying to be healthy.
Yeah,
But
I would say bodybuilding recreationally, leading the lifestyle itself, it's healthy.
yeah, I was
Competing,
gonna say,
arguably, it's not.
because when you break it down into like, the meals that we eat are comprised of just like simple ingredients, whole foods, and
Yeah,
that's where it is just naturally a bit more healthy than all the
yeah,
junk a lot of people eat. But
yeah. All
so,
right.
want to take a peek at Florida and then we'll chat about some news and
Yeah,
stuff? Or
let's do that.
alrighty.
Right. Big girl lineup, and then there'll be another one this weekend.
I know Florida was
Women's
huge,
Elite.
and upcoming this weekend, it's going to be two people, or two
Well,
people, two shows.
there is only 4 weeks left this weekend going to the Olympia, so
Is
I
it?
know it's probably heating up.
That's like
It's
where?
it still blows my mind how it's already September.
I was thinking this morning because like now when I wake up, it's still dark outside and it's starting to get darker like earlier and earlier at night. I love this time of year, but at the same time, I'm like, how did we get here already?
Hmm.
Okay. There we have it. I actually really like this lineup. How's
All
that?
right.
So I feel like they're all very comparable as well. Um,
Yeah,
Christina's had a rough year, huh?
yeah. Well, is this her first US show in the season?
No, because she did Texas. She did Texas, and
Oh yeah.
then
Okay.
did she do the show after Texas? What was after Texas? I'm drawing a blank. Remember there was one in between there,
Yes, I think so.
and I can't remember if she did that. I think she did.
Okay.
So I'm really curious. I would love to know just out of so I could learn what her feedback has been. I think it's probably the
I
backside.
I think it's her lower body.
And I was going to say, and I also don't question if she's just got a little too much quad sweep going on.
But what she somehow looks pretty. I mean, this is just based on what I'm seeing in the photos compared to like when she was in maybe like Europe. And I hope like I mean, I am very sorry if I'm wrong about this, but she looks fuller here,
Hmm.
which probably doesn't do her any justice with that
Yeah.
lower body because it all goes straight to the lower body, the food.
Hmm. I love her shape and structure, but I also like, I'm always gravitated to like impressive muscle bodies that I don't have. So
Yeah.
if I see huge sweepy quads, I'm like, oh man, I wish I looked like that. While
Hmm.
also realizing, they're doing their best to have the wellness division for huge sweepy quads. So it's
This
also.
is what I'm noticing across all the divisions so far because I follow a couple of the other podcasts that cover the other divisions, whether it's a guy's division or a female's division. I've kind of noticed that they're picking physiques that are a lot more balanced. And when they're
Mhm,
talking about balance, it's just about symmetry. So for some who, everyone's definition of symmetry is going to be different. It's not about just how the top and bottom matches in the front to back. It's more like it's your front delt the same a good size compared to the bicep, compared to the lats, that sort of stuff. So sometimes a lot of these physiques, it could be our definition of what we want figure to be. Sometimes because like Christina is she's got a kind of physique where she falls along the line of it's freaky.
mhm.
She's got a
Yeah.
wow factor. But one thing I've noticed with the judging so far, they don't want physiques to have a wow factor.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
they don't want a wow factor like that correlates with freaky. Because
Yeah.
her proportions are so like that it's like yeah, but when you compare it to someone maybe like Anna over here or Sid. Sid is the benchmark that as we would always have. Um, it's not just the shape, but when you look at it, it's just pleasant. You can kind of see why freaky is freaky and what is just flowy.
Mhm. Yeah, and
Yeah,
honestly, like, I kind of appreciate that they're doing that because I think when you go chasing down, like, a crazy muscle group, it it throws off the look, you know?
yeah,
And then everyone's trying to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and then it kind of turns into a rat race of like, "Oh, I've gotta be bigger." And we do this to ourselves, I think, all the time because in our head, we think we need to be bigger when really it's how you present the size you have, because a lot of times the biggest girl is not winning the show anymore, and I'm glad that they've taken that avenue, especially this year. But it's
yeah,
also interesting because I think a lot of girls that waited to make their pro debut, I'll get to those slides a little later, for so long size has been rewarded, and then this year is kind of the year where they're starting to reel things back in. So I think some girls almost need to figure out whether they want to streamline just a touch or maybe even push up into women's physique.
yeah. I know, like we try to we talk about this all the time. We make it a point to watch out for ourselves. Um, and I know, like we talk about being balanced and obviously not chasing the size, which is why I'm very interested to see. I mean, I'm careful with that myself, knowing how the off season is. That I'm not trying to insert myself here, but I try to be a bit more mindful. But at the same time, I'm keen to see where I would stand after this off season to kind of like know where the direction is going to go.
Yeah.
Because I could put on all these muscle this off season and I would look fine by myself in my check-ins,
Hmm.
or I look big in my check-ins, as what people say.
Yeah,
But
you
I
do.
don't think so. It's how I would fare in the lineup.
I
Because I am a small person.
I know, and I can't wait to see it because you keep telling me you're small, and it's hard for me to believe, but
I am, yeah, but that's why I'm curious to see how I would fare because naturally I am a small person, just small joints, and I'm very average in terms of my height.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's why it would be a very good, clear understanding based on like where this is going,
Hmm.
where they want to go in general.
And I've mentioned this before too, but like when I was coming up, I think I was always explained that figure was a little more of a martini glass look,
Mm-hmm.
not that dramatic like X with the quads. And I do feel like they're kind of getting back to that as well. Because even if you look at Sid, she's got like beautiful lines through her quads, but you don't look
Yeah.
at her and think like, holy shit, look at her quads.
Exactly. Yeah, this is what I mean by like the wow factor. And sometimes it's not even about the fact that, they have like a very outstanding muscle group. Some of these girls don't have an outstanding muscle group, but it's just their proportions.
Mhm.
And like, it just the way the muscle belly is, it's so freaky that, it works out for the division, but it's not what they want in terms of dance because they don't want a freak factor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and my other thought too was I hope Christina goes back to the Europe show this weekend
Mm.
because I do think her look kind of stands up
In Europe.
to those bigger, harder girls over there.
Yeah.
There is a difference in my opinion.
Okay.
But
Yeah. Well,
as
so if we were to put like compare like Elena in fifth place to her in sixth, I can see why one would place ahead of the other. Let's take a look at the back shot.
I
Is
was
there
gonna say,
any-
looking at all of these ladies from the front, to be honest with you, you could tell me any single one of them won, and I would be okay with it because I think they all look really pretty good from the front.
Yeah,
I'm I'm a huge fan of Rejoice, and I'm also a huge Elena fan. I know you know that because I'm like always sending her to the group chat,
yeah.
but I love her physique. And then when you get to the backside, I think is where the show was won, and they always say, oh, shows are won from the back, and I do feel like this was one where that was the case. I do think Anna has the most balanced physique up there.
I can see it because she
Where
really doesn't have something that just screams out in your face. Like everything is like the same standard. Like the back is just as developed as this muscle to that muscle, and so on and so forth.
yeah,
But if you ask me, they really want big glutes, huh?
I was going to say because then you look at the bottom three, and the bottom three, I think the only thing holding them
Yeah.
back, honestly, is just bringing their glutes up.
Maybe I need to tell Justin to just give me another year of an off season.
Oh, stop.
No,
Then you're going to be women's bodybuilding, okay?
no, I'm talking about the glutes. I'm talking about the glutes.
A
I'm
whole
just
year
not
just
blessed over there.
so yeah. I mean, I think Elena, I don't know if she's going to do any more shows this year. I think she sure as hell could, but
Mhm.
man, she just takes this off season, not even necessarily a long one, bringing up her glutes. I think she's going to be one that's really competitive next year. So
Very keen to see how Anna does. Congratulations.
yeah, because she's going back to Europe this year or this weekend too, right?
Yeah,
Where is that show? I'm drawing a blank. Oh, is it Spain or Germany?
I think it's Spain.
Spain. Okay.
Wait. I think it could be Germany.
I was gonna say it's either Spain or Germany. I think it might
Could be
actually be.
because it's the one that Earth is competing again in, right?
Oh, is he?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's got opens, but I would presume it to be that same Europe show. Let me check it out.
I didn't realize that. Man, that kind of makes me nervous. I feel like I'm kind of superstitious. So if I won one, and I think ours deserved the win, but I feel
Yeah.
like I would be nervous going into another open lineup because if I didn't win that second one, I would get in my head before the Olympia.
Okay, it's Europa Pro. Is that in Spain or Germany? I think it's Spain.
I don't know.
Okay, let me
Oh
look up.
well,
Where
it's this
is
weekend anyway.
Germany? It's
Germany.
Germany.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
I thought I remembered the German flag, so that would make
Well,
sense if ours did it
I
then, huh?
apologize. Jess and I are neither are not in Europe. Neither Jess or I.
Hey, at least we knew there was one in one of the two countries.
Yeah, maybe we need one person on the pod in Europe to give us an insight one day.
Yeah.
Do
So anyway,
you think that Anna was a little bit lean from behind? Is that the reason why? Do you think so? I mean, not Anna, sorry, Elizabeth.
a
Yeah.
little too lean. I was gonna say you kind of almost see some striations through her glutes there,
Yeah.
and I'm
She always nails her conditioning perfectly though. So she
Yeah.
could get away with definitely a bit less.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean, her quads are peeled from the front too.
She's got very clear, good separation from the front. I think it's just maybe it's like just nice. It's at the edge on from the front.
Yeah.
Um,
Just a couple more spoonfuls of rice.
yeah.
But and then a couple pro debuts that I thought were kind of almost right on the
Oh,
line between I think Anna has a beautiful physique. Again, pro debut, I think she could have just been a touch sharper.
yeah.
She reminds me of Christina.
Yes, a little bit. Yeah, and no,
Um,
because she's like in terms of the upper body, at least the back from behind,
yeah,
the way the back, the shape of the back.
yeah. So I thought that was a very pretty pro debut, Jessica. And all it's interesting because all three of these ladies that I'm going to show almost have that look where they're just kind of like short balls of muscle. And if they really wanted to, it almost feels like if they could take a off season to just push up into a woman's physique and do well there too.
Yeah, I was just like what Mr. Jacoby said, right? We're not talking about like a muscle standpoint. We're talking
Yeah,
about the shape, the
yeah.
way the muscle belly pops.
And I also just think
Yeah,
there's like a dense graininess to the muscle that some girls have or don't have. Like I think Eleni has that awesome, like just dense, grainy, gritty muscle look that I think would do very well in women's physique. I think she's going to kill her figure debut as well, but just for a frame of reference. But anyway, anyone else to bring up?
no, I think of
Any other
general,
pros?
not that. Yeah, not that I can think of.
Yeah. So that was a good show. Excited for Rising Phoenix this weekend.
30 women's physique pros. 30.
And it's a pretty good turnout for figure too, especially considering like there's going to be a pretty solid figure lineup in Phoenix and then in Germany too. So
Are you gonna go and watch?
I am, yeah. I'm going to go watch. I'm probably not going to stay for finals, but I'll go hit the prejudging.
Yeah, I think prejudge is what we typically would want to see. That's where, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's where you see all the call outs and stuff. So I'd get more out of that than they do a really good production for the finals, but it's kind of disappointing because they only have 5 women's bodybuilders and they usually turn it into like such a production with their finals routines and everything like that. And they would like the first year I went, they would like show a movie on the screen, like documenting the competitors like journey to the stage. And it was just like so well done. And they took
That's
all the
nice.
yeah, but and then
Because he's so
last year when I went, they quit doing the movies, and I always thought that was a nice touch, but probably just to like speed the process up. And then this year they
yeah.
took all that money out of it, and there's only 5 girls.
Oh,
So, which makes me nervous for women's bodybuilding the way this year has been. And I know
I don't know. You know
it's
why?
all the shows have been so. I mean,
Yeah.
they even made it so top 3 are going to get their qualification. So it's like I don't know what the answer is. I don't know if girls like got upset that there weren't as many shows this year, so they didn't show up. I don't know if coincidentally, like a lot of people are maybe just taking the year off.
Yeah.
I don't
Do you
know.
think it's a show schedule thing? Because I did see something at the start of the year when AJ posted, saying like there were like a couple of shows that just overlapped or like they're too far away from the Olympia. That like of course being in the bigger divisions, there's more at stake with your health when you're in prep with
Yeah.
like the cycles at least. So it doesn't make sense to kind of like do shows that are too far away from the Olympia. But I don't think that's the only reason.
Yeah. And I guess if you think about it that way, like now that this show doesn't have the monetary incentive, you know, a lot of the ladies that were probably going to shoot straight through to the Olympia, like Angie and Ashley, you know, without that big prize money, it's kind of like, why risk our Olympia showing if it's
Yeah.
just another show, you know what I mean? And then some girls that needed the qualification probably tried to get it sooner, whereas this would be like the last, either this or Sasquatch, or yeah, this would be the last opportunity for women's bodybuilders to get their qualification, right? So
Mm-hmm.
they either kind of needed to plan their year with like not necessarily gunning for this year's Olympia, and maybe it's just part of what they're going to hit in trying to qualify for next year. I have no idea. I would love to.
I find that this is like both good and bad news. Like the bad news is obviously women's bodybuilding just needs a lot more publicity and support just to
Mm-hmm.
encourage people to jump in. But at the same time, it could also mean a lot more numbers in women's physique and figure.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like last year,
And I'll be honest, I do think that women's physique is picked up this year again.
I was going to say, because I feel like I remember last year, you know, there was the argument to include women's physique in more shows, but I don't think the lineups and the shows were overly stacked. So it was hard to make that argument. And I feel like this year it's just exploded.
And do you know that when these shows explode with a specific division, it makes a very big difference for the following year.
Mm-hmm.
Because in Asia last year, figure was Korea was the only show that hosted a figure pro show. So because if not in Asia, it's always men's physique classic bikini. That show decided to do figure, and that show was the only show in the whole year that had 30 plus girls.
Wow.
Yeah, that was the lineup I did. Like I said, Justin threw me into the ocean, not knowing how it's gonna go. We thought maybe just 8 people
Yeah.
because it was Asia. Yeah, no, but the everyone outside of the US decided to go there.
Yeah. And
Yeah, and it's great because this year now there are 3 Asian countries that are hosting figure pro shows because it shows that the numbers are there and people are willing to travel.
yeah.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, like, you know, we're arguing for more women's bodybuilding, and it's kind of hard to make that argument when like I'm worried if they were already pulling it from shows this year and last year, like I don't know what it's going to be like next year,
Okay.
you know?
Yeah.
But meanwhile, as you mentioned, like, you know, previous years, I remember there at least being some weak lineups for figure and women's physique. I can't think of a single weak lineup in figure or women's physique this year,
Mm-hmm.
which is great to see. So I don't know. We'll
See
see.
how women's physique goes, and there are quite a few top contenders, right?
Yeah.
I'm guessing, yeah.
Yeah. For
I wish
rising.
Haley was here though because I would want to hear like Haley's predictions.
Yeah. Marika's going to be there. I thought she was done for the. Oh, actually, that reminds me. You know who else is going to be there that I actually thought retired for figure? I don't know why I was thinking this, but I thought Autumn Cleveland was done competing at least for a year or two, and I saw her on the.
Oh yes. Well, I think maybe because she ran the gauntlet like the whole of last
Oh
year,
yeah,
the year
yeah,
before. So maybe this time round she just wanted to try for a show that was near the Olympia
yeah.
instead.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and then
So and
aside from her, I think Katie has a good chance if she shows up like she did at Sasquatch.
mhm.
I think she's got a chance to win that one.
Okay.
It'll be exciting to see. Who else was sticking out to you? Let me bring up the.
Yeah, let's see how that goes.
Do I have the list? I don't know if I have the list.
How long more of the cut do you think you have?
God, I don't. He keeps talking about like hitting 165.
And where are you now?
I'm like kind of stagnant around like 173.
Okay.
But he's kind of funny because like he'll say that, and then like I wouldn't be surprised if this check-in he throws some PEDs back in and a little primo back in, and we're
Yeah.
back to pushing. I have no idea.
While I'm sitting here, I'm like, yes, fingers crossed.
I know. I don't feel like I'd like to. I mean, another 5 pounds just to see it would be kind of nice. But I'm also at the point where it's like I don't even know what I'm seeing in my check-in pictures anymore. I just feel like I look kind of small, so I'm ready to see what I look like with like my muscles filled back out a little bit.
I think it's just like the flat but fat kind of thing. Look, you're small. It's not what we tell people. Like
Yeah.
we just gotta keep
That's,
it going, keep it
yeah.
rolling. I'm glad my Justin didn't give me a weight. If he gave me a weight, I don't I don't know how long it was gonna take.
Well, to be honest with you, that's why I'm not sure why he says these weights out loud, because like I don't know, I don't want that number in my mind.
Yeah.
Because you know how it is. It's like, especially me, like when I first start like a little diet, my body doesn't necessarily want to move. It kind of just like hangs out and recomps. And then you kind of have to like tell it, no, we're losing weight. And then it kind of starts responding a little
Hmm.
better.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Big girl lineup.
mhm.
Okay, I will admit I'm not familiar with all the names.
I was
Is
going to say
that
a
okay?
lot of
Wait, this Erica is not the Erica that we know, right? Not Erica
no.
Morgan. Okay.
Yeah, no. Unless she changed her last name. She is from Mexico, isn't she? Or Port.
That's what I thought. Like
She might be from Portugal. I'm not
let
sure.
me look it.
So, I mean, this is still a pretty freaking big lineup. I mean, I could also see Madison finally getting her win.
Yeah. Um. hmm.
So,
Personally find it could go either ways with Autumn and Madison
mm-hmm,
because and I say this because if we're going based off the judging that just happened in Florida where Anna placed ahead, I would say Anna is very comparable to Autumn.
mm-hmm,
Like because all at least we're going off like the kind of physiques that we were looking at in top six, structure wise from the front.
mm-hmm.
You
Yeah,
get what I'm saying, right? Yeah,
yeah,
that and based on the front shot. So,
yeah.
um, it
I
could be
agree.
it could be her because she Autumn is balanced if you're gonna go by that metric.
I agree, but actually, that's a good point because I also think Katie kind of fits that criteria too. Just a pretty balanced, streamlined physique, not necessarily like a mass monster,
Hmm.
and not peeled glutes, shredded. So
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see. I'm excited to be there. But Jessica's been quiet this year,
yeah.
which isn't surprising. I mean, I would think she's she's coming for it, so it's smart to
Hmm.
sit her down a little bit.
Yeah, because there were a couple of years where she just did like so many
Oh
shows.
my god, I feel like every single year up until this year, like she would just show after show after show after
Yeah.
show, win every single one of them. Which kind of brings. What do you think about the new points for men's physique and bikini?
I feel bad for them, but I like it.
I was gonna say I kind of wish like we figure ladies had something similar. I like that system.
Well, I think it's a great system, and I find that like okay, I listen to the men's physique radio guys talk about this, and like some of the athletes on the podcast, they talked about how it might not be fair to international competitors because like obviously most of the shows are in the US. But then again, there is that pushback that at the end of the day, this is also a US federation. So it makes
Oh
sense that most of the shows are also in the US. If you want to be in the mix, you gotta travel and you gotta be in that position. Because what they're trying to do is, in inverted commas, quoting them, trim the fat.
yeah,
So if you don't have that sort of finances to kind of be in the mix, then you are part of the fat that is trimmed.
Sadly, yeah.
Yeah. And it's
But
easy
I
for me
do,
to say, as I say that, and I think about my position here and I feel sad.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I do like that they made it so that, I think for a long time people were like, oh, she already got her qualification. Like, she should sit
Yeah.
out so other people can get theirs. And it's like, some people just
It's a
want,
competition. Look, I never really understood that, and I don't agree that. Of course, I think there was a period of time like they said that about someone in bikini. Was it Ashley Kawalser?
yeah,
She did so many shows, and they said like, oh, she's not giving people a chance. But it's a competition. You're gonna see
yeah.
her again. You're gonna see her again in the Olympia if you want to be an Olympian.
Hmm.
Like so. If you
And,
want to, you're good enough, take the spot.
and don't get me wrong, sometimes you watch a show and like your gut is saying like, oh, she's already won. Maybe someone who's just doing a whole run of shows just for the
Mhm.
experience because they can or because they need to win the money back. Whatever the reason, like, sometimes my gut instinct is just kind of like, oh, well, let's let so and so win since so and so already got their qualification. Like, yes, I think that too, but at the same time, like, it's not anything against the girl who's already won and is showing again. It's like if you can just keep going and keep winning and keep earning a couple extra checks, like,
Yeah.
do it up. So I am kind of glad that the divisions where that's probably most commonly occurring because bikini girls, they probably don't need as much downtime.
Yeah. And look, they have so many shows.
Yeah. And they have so many shows.
So it does make sense because you can accidentally win two shows.
Hmm.
It would kind of solidify that, hey, she's legit.
Hmm.
Yeah. But how
Yeah.
do you think that would be? What do you think of something similar for figure though?
I
Because
was
I
gonna,
don't know if we have that many shows to do that.
I was gonna say it's kind of tricky because there is such a big difference in the number of shows. I do feel like the amount of figure shows and the lineups this year, like they were very competitive. So I do almost think they could afford to add some more shows to the mix.
Okay.
And I mean, I kind of would like to see the point system. I mean,
Yeah.
in some ways it is a bummer because like you do need to have the money to plan to either win to and get it over with quick or
You
to.
got, and it encourages people to be more strategic with their shows,
Mhm.
which is great for their health at the same
Yeah.
time. But hey, actually, now that you're talking about this, I'm just thinking if they had that sort of you know to show to qualify criteria for figure and women's physique, then maybe this could be a criteria if it would encourage all the promoters that are doing pro shows for classic bikini and men's physique to throw in a figure show.
Yeah.
Because if there is, them hosting the numbers that literally has double or even two and a half times the number of figure pro shows out there, then this, it's kind of like, does the chicken come first or the egg?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we kind of showed that like the girls will show up to compete. I think they
Yeah.
kind of go back to the argument of like, well, is it filling seats? And to be honest with you, I don't know that like filling seats is as common now that live streams are so popular. I think that's more of a thing for like the bigger shows, like maybe the Arnold and the Olympia. Um,
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm curious. Like I'm sure these shows that don't have men's open have quite a smaller turnout, but I would think that if you're adding a bigger division like figure, then it would add to your overall takeaway, right?
Yeah, could possibly.
I mean, I know I buy all the live streams when I know I'm not going to be training. There's plenty of times that I don't buy them because I know I'll be training right in the middle of prejudging,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to spend the 30 or 40 bucks just to watch the awards.
Hmm.
But I don't know, like it.
Well, if figure ever comes to a point where it falls under the number of pro shows that are so, I mean, that falls into the category that you need two qualifications, then we can kind of like take it as good news because
I
it
think
means that there is a little bit more recognition
Yeah.
with like the publicity of the division.
And it's you have to remember too, like this is kind of like their first year. Well, not first year. I know they used to do the point system, but it was way different. I feel like this is them showing that they're, trying to listen to us because it's been brought up plenty of times. Like,
Yeah,
why are these bikini girls, like, why are there so many of them? So it is nice to see that they're like listening to us and taking in the feedback. And I'm sure there's going to be revisions to it next year too.
yeah, and it does make sense honestly because when I had a 30 girl lineup in my pro show last year, all of us went up for comparisons, and then obviously you have that individual routine. Each girl is about a minute long, and
Hmm.
me being me had my last my I was it I put Tanya as my last name instead. So
Oh,
letter T all the way in, and honestly it was kind of my mistake. This is me digressing a story. Let me tell you a story because it was
yeah.
my pro debut. So I can't remember, I told Sarah, no, I told Paula this. I said, I do not want to be the first one to go up. It's my pro debut. I am shitting bricks. I do not want my to be the first one to go up. And because I played it so well because I know the kind of last names that are available in South Korea. It's always Lee, it's always Park, it's always Kim, it's always Long, it's always this and that, and nothing comes before G unless it's An. So, and I was like, I am likely to be one of the ones in front. And I know there'll be people from other countries coming in, but I was also like, I'm going off the number of girls in Korea. So I thought to myself, let me put Tanya as the last name and push myself right behind. And that was not wise. I was like 35 minutes back in line,
Oh,
and
really?
there was no place to sit down, and some of us were not even sitting down. Like we had to stand, and I was like, and some of us would walk to the to the corner of the stage just to see like, are we going up yet? Oh, there's still
Wow.
another half of us. All right, I'm walking back. Yeah, and
So,
I thought to myself, and based off the lineup, actually, if I used my actual last name, which was GOH, my dad Chinese name, I would have been in the middle and maybe like further up ahead.
I was gonna say karma sometimes karma can be a bitch, and I was like, you could have wound up standing next to like Gabriella Linartova, like towering above you. Like, you never know.
Yeah, and
That's
if
always
I
so,
put G and then G is relatively next to L, I would have been relatively near Teresa,
yeah.
kind of.
Teresa, that was who
How
was
else?
your show. Yeah.
Yeah,
I know it's always funny, like the initial call outs, especially like at the men's open, because it's like, you never know who you're gonna like
exactly.
come out next to, and
Yeah,
man,
so long story short, don't learn from me.
keep your last name. Keep your last name your real last name.
Really, indeed.
That is
It's like
funny.
doing an exam. It's like doing an exam with, like MC, multiple choice questions, and then you have extra time to check through your answer. And second, you're having second thoughts about the answer that you picked.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe don't change it.
yeah.
Just don't change it.
Get it over with. Otherwise, you're waiting backstage, just like getting the nerves even stronger.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, but I was just so tired of waiting, and it
Yeah.
doesn't do my physique well because I would flatten out easily. Right, like sometimes it makes a very big difference. Like especially when it's a 30-minute difference, 15 minutes can make a difference for some people.
I was gonna say, especially the more muscle you have, the more I think sensitive you are to like sitting around and waiting. Don't you think?
Potentially, yeah,
Yeah,
maybe. Mm. Yeah,
got
so
more
no,
muscle.
so going back to the Olympia, if you have like 60 or 70 girls, look, like what one division will you know, what 2 hours, 2.5?
And especially like when you consider like I don't know how many figure has 25, 30, 35.
35, yeah, bro, like yeah, 30 plus. 30
So
plus
that
40.
is getting towards the upper end,
Higher
I would.
end.
But
Yeah.
then when you consider there's probably not even 20 women's bodybuilders, how many men's open? 20, 25.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I feel like, they're just doing their best to make the class sizes more consistent.
Mm.
So, I mean, I guess you could also take into consideration, well, there's way more bikini pros in the federation. So that's why there's more bikini shows. I don't know, like, not trying to do a math project, but I'm sure they take all that into consideration as well.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I would be very keen to see how the standards change next year when
I'm
everything.
so curious to see how. What are
And
you
I can
thinking?
understand that maybe because like fit model is still new, that's why it doesn't fall under that category. But I would think very soon it would be
Yeah.
at some
And
point.
that fit model is going to be at the Olympia next year, right?
Um, Potentially yes, because there would be a couple of pro shows leading up to the Olympia, so we will
It'll,
have our first lineup of Olympians for
it'll
fit
be
model.
interesting to see. Although, how many? There can't even be that many. I guess people could cross over. Huh. That'll be really interesting to see how many like former bikini pros, not even necessarily former, but like
Yeah,
were competing in bikini and then maybe with this are going to come out of retirement or whatever
yeah,
and do fit model. Because when you think about it, like there's only so many fit model pros already. Like they'd all have to go to the same pro shows.
that's true. That's a very good point.
So maybe it won't be at the Olympia. I'm
But
curious.
I'm also told that the moment you compete in fit model, you can't cross a division.
Oh, but bikini, if bikini already bikini
Bikini goes down, then yeah. So I'm saying like bikini goes down fit model. I don't know if you can do that again. I don't know.
Oh,
That's a
okay.
good question though.
Well, I think that's actually a good rule to implement. Like you're
Yeah,
setting the standard, like you're not gonna get an easy
yeah,
pro
because you
card.
want it in fit model. It doesn't give you like an advantage, right? Okay, after that I got my pro card. Let me go to
Yeah,
figure pro.
I think that's good. I think
Yeah.
that's good. But
Mhm.
it's gonna be interesting to see how the figure Olympia plays out. Like I'm I'm pretty sure like it's gonna be Jessica, honestly.
Oh yeah. Well, actually, you might have a very good point there because if we're going, and I'm going back to like what the division is, in terms of what standards, and let's go back from the recent Florida Pro, right? Looking for balance. If you compare balance, Lola falls under freaky wow factor to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
maybe that's not what they want.
And Jessica had a really, I don't think we ever covered it, but I felt like Jessica's look, it was either at Masters Olympia or I think she did like Puerto Rico beforehand. That was probably my favorite look of Jessica's.
Or
Jessica
like
has a physique
the
that I
ones
think,
from this year.
yeah, um, she's someone that you see so much that I think sometimes I don't appreciate it, as terrible
Yeah,
as
like
that
how
is.
much she changes and still
Yeah.
improves.
But she's always like so consistent, like you know what you're gonna get. And I think sometimes when people are just always so good, you just like
Yeah.
expect it and don't like appreciate it as much. But
You know, now that you mentioned, I've never seen a show that Jessica was off.
yeah, yeah,
She's always on.
she's
It's just
always,
whether she's extra streamlined or she just showed up extra big that year that she had to knock it down a bit.
yeah, she doesn't have, I'm not finding a recent picture, but it was one of those shows that I was like, damn, that's probably my favorite Jessica look. Like I can see that being.
That's not my favorite Jessica look. This one is.
No.
All right, everybody. Everyone is waiting to see like this Jessica's look. Jessica 2026. We're all waiting to see Jessica in 2026. This Jessica.
Oh, me?
Yeah, you.
I don't know, man. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I was talking about you. Oh, I'm
I
keen
don't
on
know,
that.
man. I'm already like, maybe we don't need to compete next year.
And then, and this I think is something that we can bring up on the pod as well. Like, I find like the two of us are on the other spectrum.
Yeah, but
Like,
look at you. Like you,
yeah, it's easy for us to tell people like sit your ass down in the off season. There's not a rush. Make the improvements again. But there's also people on the other end of the spectrum that you're just not gonna be ready.
yeah, yeah,
Like this is like the people, the two of us will fall under the category of where like the veterans will tell us at the end of the day, show experience is the most valuable, and you need that.
and that's really true. And I think there's something to be said about having reasonable expectations.
Yeah,
It's kind of a foreign concept because I've never really lost a show,
Mm-hmm.
and now I'm going into it like knowing I'm going to lose. And not
Yeah.
that that's a bad thing, but it's having that realistic expectations of just like, there's absolutely no expectation to do well, honestly, aside from just looking better than I did at nationals.
Yeah. But you know what? I actually enjoyed prepping for my pro debut last year because in my head I was like, oh great, I have no expectations placed on me. But at the same time, I get the chance to give these girls a run for the money.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's
That's the fun part.
I was gonna say I could totally see myself being that way when it does
Yeah.
come time to prep, because it's the first time that like you're not, I said going into nationals, like deep down, I was just like whatever happens, happens. At the same time, we're still prepping to turn pro. Like
Mhm.
I'd be lying if I said that
Yeah.
wasn't
I didn't want the pro card, right? Yeah.
so. I am kind of looking forward to just like, well, truly, like I would be a lunatic to like go into my pro debut prepping to win. So I am looking forward to not necessarily having that pressure on me, because I do feel like once I make that pro debut, like I might have more expectations of myself.
Hmm.
And the following preps, there's a little more pressure. So I'm just going to enjoy like, me putting the pressure on myself to beat my own previous best.
Yeah.
So, and
Like
that's
I never really get pressure from external, but I know that it's pressure that I always give to myself because
mhm,
for me, I always hold myself to the kind of standard that from every season that I do, I want to see very clear differences to my
exactly.
physique, and so far I have been able to live up to that. Um, and but going back to like being it's basically the underdog mentality that you're talking
Hmm.
about in a pro debut. And I think going into my second season as a pro next year, that is something that I like to continue to take with me. Because sometimes, even though it's not your pro debut anymore, it's still kind of important to try to drill that into yourself. It's not going to be easy the more seasoned you get,
Hmm.
but I also need to remind myself that even though people don't see me that way, with the way I carry myself on social media, I am still rather inexperienced with overall stage. So that's something that I can lean on to, even if outside everyone has a lot of expectations of me. And they
Hmm.
only want best for me, but you get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. It's kind of nerve-wracking being like so inexperienced with the stage aspect.
Mhm.
It's kind of just like, because I've said it before, it's like there's literally only one way to get that experience. And it's like
Yeah.
actually there is a posing class, I guess you would call it, that does do theater posing sometimes. So I need to like start attending some of those too, because like I said, it's just like that initial like walking out on stage that's like start
Yeah.
shaking in my
Once
britches.
you're up there for like maybe the first 2 3 minutes, it gets yeah, you're all right.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Well, speaking of like about like all the shows and stuff, remember how we on the group chat we were talking about how like what if we had, how we people bet on like horses,
yeah.
cars, and the NFL for
Yeah.
football? What if we had this kind of metric for like figure and women's physique? And I'm just wondering if anyone thinks that this is a good idea. If you girls think that it's a good idea, please let us know. We would love to try to work this out because like if we could have like this prediction system where everyone could key in their predictions for a show. This could like draw some attention to the divisions, and
Hmm.
maybe you could win some prizes or money.
I was gonna say, I think we would probably have to do. I don't know what the legal guidelines are for
Yeah,
like
that's what I'm thinking. Like, is this
monetary
considered
bets,
legal
but
gambling? Because it's like a lottery,
wouldn't that be some shit? We get busted because we're like doing this online gambling ring.
right?
That'll be the teaser. We're gonna do the Chat GPT, you and I behind bars.
Yeah. But among friends, this is actually pretty fun. This is something I've been doing with like Sarah as well, like on an informal kind of
Oh yeah.
basis
So
where
how did your Florida Pro? Who won the
So,
Florida
okay, so to
Pro?
give everyone a context, Sarah and I bought like the decent. I know Dark Spot had a couple of collections where they have this box set of 4 T-shirts, and I think it was like the Faith Over Fear collection. So Sarah and I bought the box set, and she was like, okay, I told her like, you take two shirts, I'll take two shirts. And then when the box came in, she was like, which one do you want? I said, okay, you pick one, I pick one, and then the last two, if we want the same ones. But actually, we are quite 50-50. We don't mind either. Just to spice it up a little bit, we were like, okay, let's see who gets the predictions right for Florida Pro, and then the winner gets to pick the T-shirt. And Sarah's like, oh, Sarah's always like competitive. She's like, all right, let's do that. And then in the end, none of us won, so we have to come up with a new bet.
Oh, you know, I mentioned this too, but like, so Fuad's, I kept calling it an app, but it's really just a web-based platform.
My prediction was Madison first, Christina second,
Oh,
Elizabeth third.
oh, where'd you have Anna?
We only picked the top three.
Oh,
Yeah, that's why.
well, you got pretty
Um,
close to Madison.
yeah, Sarah had Christina first, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah,
Honestly, if you were to ask me, I probably would have done Madison, Christina.
yeah, I did Madison and Christina,
Yeah, I
and then
probably would
Elizabeth.
right there with you. But the way Fuad has his setup, I thought it was super cool because you can. I never got into like fantasy football or anything like that, but you could create a fantasy league by creating like a
Like a
team,
dream team.
and then each show that they enter, how they place, there's a point designation. So if you go with a guy who enters like a bunch of shows, you're probably gonna. So there's a little bit of strategy because you have to think like what guy is probably gonna have to enter a couple shows to get their qualification.
Okay.
Not so much like someone that's gonna like one and done it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I thought that was really cool. And then you can, per each show, then you can go in and place not necessarily the people on your team, but just order how you think the show is going to place. And I thought that was
Okay.
cool. So then you like accumulate the points, and that's why I was saying it would have been more fun if like you girls were on it too, because there's like a competitive nature. Whereas
Yeah.
when I'm doing it myself, I'm like, I don't know who I'm competing against.
Look, this is something that I would like to have like over the Olympia, like a watch party with friends, like a
Yeah,
night where we have like
yeah,
this kind of like betting going on, which is honestly like pretty cool. I
yeah.
fun fact, I told what's his her name, like Brienne,
Oh,
a
yep.
women's physique girl. I told her when she does her show, I will bet on her. And I told her it's no pressure, but my
No
hundred dollars
pressure, but
falls on
she's
her.
winning.
But my $100 falls on her.
Yeah.
So I said I would bet on you. I said I'm betting on you. Please give me my $100. And I said like we try not to give each other pressure on social media, but come on now,
I
look at
know.
that.
I know. I hate saying stuff like that. Even like when people are like probably going to win their pro card, it's like I don't want to. You never know. You never know who's
Yeah, no,
gonna.
because it does things to like people in prep sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't want whether it's positive or negative attention, you just don't want the expectation placed.
Yeah.
But
And I'm
I'm
not one of
sorry,
those.
but Brianna, I'm
Sometimes
betting
I'm
on
never
you.
sure what to say too because I'm not one of those people that like says good luck because like I know this isn't like a luck sport, you know. So
Yeah,
I'm always just like, what do I even say? But have fun. Don't forget to enjoy it, which is a valid point because like show day comes and goes so freaking fast
honestly, yeah.
that it's like just freaking slow down and enjoy every single moment.
I'm actually liking the the comments scroll scroll down. I think that was like she commented herself. Was it when Cameron posted? She was like, "I see you chose
Oh,
violence this afternoon."
I see you chose violence. The morning shot. Yeah. That's a year. That's a year in between. So that's freaking
Yeah,
wildly impressive.
very
So I'm excited to see her.
good job to both of you.
Yeah. So Cameron's got a pretty solid women's physique crew with her
Yeah.
and Megan.
Oh yeah.
So I've
You know,
had
it's so good. It's so good when you have coaches like this that are so good with these smaller girl divisions, smaller
Mhm,
number of girls divisions, not smaller girl. They're not small.
mhm.
Um, because it kind of like continues to drive people to compete and show that hey, look, these girls really look really good.
Mhm.
and there are coaches out there who support the division.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, a lot of exciting things. I think it'll be
Yeah, well, I think we
exciting.
covered a lot of news today.
Sorry.
I think we covered a lot of the news today.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else besides Daddy Urs winning. Daddy Urs
Oh,
winning.
yes.
So that was
Good job.
exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
Well, the
Big Urs.
one thing that we maybe one day we can cover is like, what if women had weight caps?
Yeah. It's. I think that I think the thing that makes it tricky for
It's
women.
our menstrual cycle because every girl is like so different at the same height.
That's true too. I was going to say there's more of a height discrepancy
Yeah.
among women.
Yeah.
But at the same time, then, you look at someone like Paula, who is a lot taller than a lot of the women's physique girls, and it would probably bump her up to bodybuilding. And honestly, I think she would, if she wanted to, do well in women's bodybuilding.
Hmm. But you see, I think why we don't have a weight cap, and okay, yes, if this applies to the guys as well, is that with figure, bikini, wellness, women's physique, it's a look division at the end of the day. So maybe Paula is not even heavy; she still makes the
Yeah, that's
weight.
true.
Yeah, but
And I know, like, for instance, like, I
yeah,
would be quite a bit heavier than, a lot of these girls that are 5'3", but I'm
well,
sure
maybe
not.
in women's physique, you never know. Like some women's physique girls are also lighter than you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Well,
all
I
right,
meant like heavier than figure, to clarify, heavier than like some figure girls that are shorter. But like
okay,
I would be so out of place if I had to push all the way up to women's physique or
yeah,
bodybuilding just because I'm tall. So
yeah, I
so I
feel
think
you.
I think it's just too convoluted when it comes to women. See, I think men it's a little easier because it's like if you're shorter, you just go 212.
Yeah,
Or if you have a classic shape, then you go classic. But so
fair.
but
All
yeah.
right,
So anyway,
looking for it.
yeah. All right. Well, I'll talk to you soon. Have a good night.
Okay. Hope everyone enjoyed this conversation. Big
Yeah.
one, a lot of things to discuss. Let us know your thoughts.
Yes. All right.
All right. See
Bye.
you. Bye.